As the Trump administration moves to end diversity, equity, and inclusion policies throughout the federal government, we're already seeing the impact on the medical community. Take last month, when the FDA rolled back guidelines that prioritized making clinical trials of cancer drugs more accessible to historically underrepresented groups. The original goal of those guidelines was to better evaluate the effectiveness and the risks of new medications by including a wider, more representative swath of people in the testing process. Here's one critical example of why that's so important. Studies in recent years show Black women have the highest mortality rates of any female racial or ethnic group in the U.S. for many types of cancer, including breast cancer. But by the way, Black women only make up around 2% of participants in clinical trials for cancer drugs. Compare that to white women. They make up 84%. And that's where our guest, breast cancer survivor Ricki Fairley, comes in. In 2020, she started Touch, the Black Breast Cancer Alliance, connecting Black women with critical medical resources and support groups. And in 2022, she launched the When We Trial initiative to get more Black women into clinical testing for cancer drugs. Ricki, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me here.
So the statistics are really shocking. Black women are less likely to get cancer, just slightly, but have a 41% higher mortality rate. What is driving this discrepancy?
And let me add one more statistic. So overall, we have a 41% higher mortality rate, but Black women under 35 get breast cancer at twice the rate of white women and die at 3 times the rate of white women. Well before they would have that first mammogram at age 40.
In that chart we showed, the Latino and Asian women are at the lowest rates of death.
Yes.
What are they doing right? I mean,
well, I think what we're learning now, there's a lot of science that's validating that a Black breast cancer cell looks different than a white breast cancer cell. And guess what the drugs were made for? They were made on white women. They were never tested on our bodies. So we're seeing different side effects, we're seeing different efficacy, and we're seeing this incredible mortality rate. And so we're now questioning all of the science and saying, what's different? Is it genetics? Is it biology? Is it exposomics, the environment? All the things, all the scientific things, genomics that could affect a cancer cell.
So it's not necessarily what women are doing in terms of seeking health care. It's what the healthcare system and the drugs available to them.
Right. Well, so there's always access to care and all those sort of social determinants of health, but it's also the basic biology of a cell. So the cells look different.
I didn't realize
So
that.
if the drugs are tested on this white cell, the Black cell looks totally different. The drugs aren't working for us.
Just in terms of like the cancer?
Yes, the cancer cells, the makeup of the cancer cells.
That's fascinating, because you always hear about race being a social construct, that genetically everyone's under the surface the same, but you're saying when it comes to cancer, that's not the case.
Not the case.
So,
interesting.
So what is driving the fact that so few Black women are part of these trials?
Well, you know, we did a research study a few years ago, and we found that we talked to 300 Black blesties, I call us blesties, and we did 15 focus groups, and what we learned was doctors don't invite us. That's the primary reason. We're not invited. Illicit bias, racism, whatever the factors are for that doctor to not include us in the research. And secondly, is equally important, is this fear of the unknown. So people want to blame it on the trust in the medical system, and clearly all those factors are there, Henrietta Lacks and syphilis study, but really we heard stuff like, I'm going to get the sugar pill and die. They didn't understand how the research is conducted. They didn't understand that there is no sugar pill in cancer research.
Well, that's interesting. I would have thought there was.
There isn't. There isn't. And so it's like you're going to get standard of care. You're going to get the best drug.
Interesting.
And then you're going to get maybe something different. Think about it as you have an iPhone 16, right?
Yeah.
What if, and that works great. What if you got the iPhone 20?
Yeah.
So what's your reaction then to this change in federal policy on DEI, which is now eliminating this guideline to have Black women and more representation in late-stage clinical trials?
So first of all, the guideline is okay, but it's not great because it's for phase 3 trials. By phase 3, that drug is in the birth canal. So if the drug isn't tested in earlier phases,
it's too late.
It's too late. Yeah. But frankly, our pharma partners, and I'm so grateful for them. I thank God for our partners. We work with many of the companies that make breast cancer drugs. They've been on this mission for a while and will continue to be. And I believe they're committed to making the right drugs because it's good science. It's good science. It's not about hitting a quota or doing something, but it's the best science.
So you're trusting that the pharmaceutical industry will continue to focus on representation?
I have utmost trust in them, and they're doing the work.
Ricki, thank you so much.
Ricki Fairley, founder of Touch, the Black Breast Cancer Alliance. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Beautiful in your hearts today.
Yeah, you look great.
It's a love business, clinical trials.
If you're wearing that today, what'd you wear on Valentine's Day?
Well, you know what? I really believe it's a love business. It's a love business. We're bringing the lug and putting the hug around the science.
I love that.
I love that.
Love that.